I think he's even taking drugs with them because sometimes when I'm around, I see the way he staggers and sometimes smells. Even when he's talking at times, he sounds like he's high. The first time I brought it up with my boyfriend, he told me the boy did drugs 2023, but he went to rehab and now he's okay. Since then, if I mention my suspicion, my boyfriend will say it's because I know he was into drugs before. But that's why I'm still suspecting him. How can I prove that I'm right? My first question was, is it her place to bring this matter to the fore? And that was just me thinking out loud. But the second question is it a matter of proving she's right? Well, she kind of needs to give them some kind of evidence. So what are the signs that tell us that this person is probably, into substance abuse or downright drug addiction?
Okay. So we're cutting it somewhere in between.
Right.
Based on that question. So basically, some of the things you mentioned are correct. Okay. When someone is showing signs that they are high, they're talking, maybe he's not talking with some coordination, is behaving sort of irrational, it might be aggressive so maybe she knows him not to be that kind of person, and then he's showing some evidence of aggression, the way he's talking. It might not, so
might be slurry.
It might be slurry. It might be that he's even feeling sleepy, when he's supposed to be fully awake. Alertness might not be there, might be subconscious. So all of those things are things that will suggest that, oh, okay. And so, yes, the fact that she knew that he was on drugs 2023, yes, also will suggest that she will be suspicious. That, oh, okay, perhaps is still something that he has gone back to by some of the signs she has seen.
Is it possible that she's overthinking things?
I don't think so. So one of the things that when you talk about substance abuse or drugs, as it's generally called,
yes,
illicit drugs, is that, they are not all drugs, not all substances are drugs, but a drug is a substance.
Right.
So when you look at it from that, and then a substance is like a chemical, a chemical that is introduced to the body and then brings about changes psychologically and physiologically. So some of the physiological signs she's seeing suggests that
he might be into something.
He might be into something. So it's possible that, she has seen that, okay, I've seen this guy before, maybe in another stance. He's not like this. So some of those signs suggest that most likely he's probably on drugs, And then, there are different classes of drugs. Some are stimulants, some are opioids, some are, depressants, so some people that are used, some of them take some of these substances that will make them high. At the same time, maybe because they're going to school or, going to work, they take a depressant.
Doc.
They take the one that will make them feel a bit calm.
So they take the one that gets them high, but now that they have something to do, they now take a depressant to keep calm.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. That's drugs on drugs.
So it's a mixed bag of so many things.
Doc, I was just about to tell them about an event I was going for a few days, and I saw this bunch of university students. I think they can't be more than first year, second year. And there was this boy I noticed. He has a good disposition normally, but on that particular day, because I'd observed him over time, I noticed how he was cracking up. He was constantly laughing at everything. And when I mean laughing almost to the point, in fact, there were times when he would laugh out of his chair and crawl his way back to the chair. I just said to myself, this boy is high on something. And then after a while, I, casually asked one of his friends, and I said it, like, now what's going on? And he basically said the boy was on Molly. And I was looking like, I see those in movies, but apparently the students right now are taking some very interesting things. I heard that he had taken Molly and then another happy pill, and he was in a daze. He was in a bubble, a very happy bubble, disturbingly so. So how do we even start to notice this in our young ones? Because I read every morning the stories about, NDLEA or customs intercepting the tons of drugs and substances that they're intercepting every week is alarming. So how do we notice these things, especially with our young kids?
Okay, so maybe we should just start from the beginning.
And the beginning will come in a moment because someone's calling us again. Hello, good morning.
Okay.
Hello.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning. I'm Sumeri, the man that called earlier.
Okay, yes.
There is something I want to say.
Yes.
I want to make a point.
Okay.
The greatest problem that any young man, any youth will have in his lifetime is to do drugs. Because I have an example living very close to me. Two matured grown-ups are into drugs, and their life is becoming useless. Imagine two young men, after living outside the country, their parents are now believing that they will come out with something. They have exhausted everything they have. They are selling every property in their
brother's
not
house.
even in their own house, in their elder's brother's house. Their parents are very, very old. These people, their parents will be up to 70, 90 years now, 80 years if I'm mistaken.
Okay.
They are useless. They are not married. They are unconscious. You see them stagger every time all the time they are staggering. You see them staggering. The point I want to make here is, for any young man listening to me, the worst mistake you will make in your life that will destroy your destiny and whatever you say you want to become in this life is to do drugs.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There are now two cases that we need to look at. So how do we notice it when it starts? Because I'm very much about the stop it when it starts before it escalates. So how do we notice?
Okay, so like I said, I want to start from the beginning.
Okay.
Which is, just trying to put some perspective into what are substances or drugs. They're natural or synthetic chemicals capable of altering or modifying the functioning of the body system.
Okay.
For sometimes for therapeutic purpose, but otherwise it can be something, like I said earlier, that will bring changes to you psychologically and physiologically, so, and then there are different types of drugs. The unusual one that people have, apart from all the cannabis, cocaine, heroin and all of that, unusual drugs that people have abused in recent times: glue, petrol, sewage.
Sorry, go back, sir.
Glue, petrol, sewage,
Sewage?
Yes, lizard excreta.
How do they get lizard excreta?
Cockroaches,
Cockroaches.
turpentine, so it's a lot. And then, like I said, so in terms of statistics, by gender, statistics that we have shows that, like 94.2% of males do drugs in Nigeria. 55.8 for female, but the gap is narrowing. There are a lot of more female doing drugs now. Age of first use is between 10 to 29. So it's as
10
low,
years old to 29.
yes. So and then some of the reasons why people do drugs is because they model after maybe somebody they've seen. You want to be like someone that you admire, or a social media,
Yes, social media influencers of sorts.
or, and all of that. Some say it's because they're stressed. peer pressure. A lot of the young people, adolescents, and maybe a little lower that gets into it is because of curiosity. Curiosity is more, and then curiosity then gets them into trouble. For students, a lot of some of the reasons why they use is to keep awake, maybe to read, some to experience high feelings. Their friends will say, you know what, he says I'm feeling something. He said, don't worry, I'll give you something. When you use it, it will make you feel, so when they
happy.
experience that euphoria, I like it, what's that thing that you gave me? And then that begins the journey.
What you're saying right now, I remember having a conversation about drugs one time, and I think I mentioned it here on radio, and a young man called in and said he started working in an organization, and his bosses would, keep him close, and they'd say, let's go out. And the first time they gave him, in this case, tramadol. And he said, oh no, I don't pop any pills. And they said, you can't work here if you don't. And so that's how he started his drug abuse, literally. So these things you're saying, just curious, you're talking about schools and the fact that, the pressure to read and pass and all these things is pushing a lot of young people. Does that mean we need to address our curriculums maybe, or what's going on with that?
No, so not necessarily curriculum we all went to school, especially for us that schooled in Nigeria. Curriculum, you have to find a way to, schedule your time to make sure that you read at the time that works for you. Some people like to read at the middle of the night. Some people, they're a day person, and you do that. So this is also based on the fact that they've already been influenced by their friends, and then now they're using drugs. Some say that for bodybuilding, some to moderate their appetite.
There's really drugs for body that and it helps bodybuilding.
So those are the reasons. These are researched,
reasons.
Some, to relieve stress. Some use it to treat illness. So, for instance, some people that are already showing signs of mental health breakdown. Some of them, in their naivety, kind of think that they can use substances or drugs to help them treat whatever it is that is going on with them, because at times they don't even know what it is. So so that happens.
That I love the fact that this show, I always tell you people, I'm as human and regular as you, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I was dealing with depression at one point, and I had to see a psychiatrist, and she placed me on a medication. And I remember this is the job I do. So I need I'm a naturally hyper person. But this medication would kill my entire mood. I would just be there, like very blah. And I can see how someone who's probably doing my line of, because I had to stop the medication. I had to tell the doctor, I can't take it anymore. I can't function, and that's a problem. Because I was functioning with the depression I was dealing with. I can't function with the medication, and I stopped. But I see how some people would use it because it's been prescribed, but then now look for a high when they need to function, which is a bad idea. Yes. I need to bring that example because regular people too find themselves taking drugs, like you said, for health reasons, keeping stable. I need to get my job done.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that example that you gave, comes up a lot of the times. At the clinic, you see, I can't deal with this medication that you have given to me because it's making me slow. It's not making my
numbing
head
me up.
So the thing is, what we usually advise, because it's the psychiatrist that prescribes. The psychologist does talk therapy. Yeah. So the thing is, when you have that kind of situation, you go back to the doctor to say, oh, I'm feeling this way. It's not allowing me work. Then the doctor can reorder the way the medications are. Maybe some of those medications will take to the night time, so that during the day, maybe the medication you're using is something that will give you some energy, but at night, that other one that will make you draggy might, So there's a way around that.
options.
Yeah, so when that happens, just come back to the hospital to speak to the psychiatrist, just like you did that in this job, but not stopping.
To be honest with you, I stopped altogether just because my system is not a regular system, and I have ADHD. When I was told I had ADHD and he wanted to place me on Adderall and stuff, I said no, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna try to function with my ADHD because it's better for me to be able to learn to function with it than to put myself on something that if I don't have it, I can't function. I didn't want to be in that situation, but I hear you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, you were talking about how do we know? Some of the things that, just like the lady that was saying, oh, she noticed something that is different with the guy. That is her boyfriend's cousin.
Yeah.
So those are ways to know. So for parents, for instance, one of the easiest way for parents to know that maybe something is going on with their son or daughter is that academics, the grade starts to decline. So maybe you have some smart child that is doing very well. All of a sudden, the grades start to dip. They are at home. You don't see them. Maybe they're in their rooms. They try to just seclude themselves. They lock themselves off in the toilet. What's going on? What are you doing? You need to put your eyes into what they're doing, to go into their business to know what it is. Because it's not just like the caller was talking about. Those guys that have started selling off stuff.
Their brothers'
It's
stuff.
an addiction, and then they are at the dependency stage where they are dependent on whatever substance they're using, and if they don't use it, they feel like they everything is not all right. So that's why you see, because they are now dependent, they have to get anything that will give them that money to fund that habit.
Yes.
Which is why anything they see, they will sell it to fund the habit but they are at a dependency stage where they can't help themselves because the system is now,
this is the only way I can function.
So the brain is asking for more. The reward center in the brain has been activated, and then every time, that's the message that goes to the brain. I want more. So, and then they're not able to deal with that, which is the reason at the end of the day why people go to rehab. To be able to, help them first, detoxify, then for them to be able then to see the reason why that, okay, so you are in rehab for 6 weeks,
2 months,
2
3
months, and all of that. And then, depending, and you see that, 3 months, I've not used anything. And I'm functioning. So I give you an example of someone I'd seen a long time ago, and then, we're at a group therapy session, and he says that, so the guy was saying that, cannabis helps me do my job very well. And it is so it was a group session, so we're learning from all the people that are
in the room.
So he says that at the time when he wasn't using anything to do a fabric, maybe a male top and bottom, it takes him like 2 to 3 days 2 days that when he uses cannabis, that then he's able to do like top and bottom like 3 or 4. Top and bottom 3 or 4. So that means what it will take him 2 days before, it will use 1 day to do like 3 of the 2 days. Okay. So I was curious because I knew that I know some of the signs of people that
are dependent.
So I said, "Oh, really? So what feedback did you get from your customers?" And the response made everybody in the room to crack up so badly.
Oh,
yeah, really? Because he said, so many times his customer had used the police to arrest him.
So he's functioning but not functioning right still.
Because it's either he has damaged their clothing, he didn't, everything is just not properly done. Because, when you are under the influence of all these things, concentration is poor.
Yes.
Your clarity is also hampered. You can't focus. You can't, there is a thing they get wrong is that the euphoria they feel, they use it as a landing pad for every other thing. So you feel high, then you feel that, okay, at that time you can take on the world, you can do anything, you can, but when they are now in rehab and, they have not used anything, they say, oh my God, that really, then I wasn't really.
That wasn't the thing that made me.
I wasn't focused. I couldn't get I couldn't concentrate and all of that. So they really, when they are not on anything, they're able to see the difference.
This thing you said has brought up the matter of creatives, and you have to get high. You hear a lot of artists talking about how they have to really get high so that they can, do their creativity on a grand scale and do a better job. And sometimes it's all in your head. I want to take a break. When I come back, I do want to talk about rehab. Coming back from rehab, I think one of the things in this case, the guy that called us and this other lady's issue, it's a case of they've been to rehab, they're back, but it seems like they're still using, or downright they're still using. So could there be something that they didn't do right? The people who helped them go through to rehab and come back, are there certain measures they need to put in place when they come back, when these people come back? One, and the second thing, because I will forget. The second thing is I want to talk about substance abuse. In this case, I was with a bunch of people the other day, and one was talking about how they started drinking beer from when they were like 8 because their parents would sip a little, get them to sip a little beer at that age. Because one said, my dad wanted me to know what it was in good time. I'm like, really? We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It is Super 92.7 FM. This is Health and Wellness. Yes, one this hour.
Super FM 92.7.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead of the curve is crucial. Are you ready to connect with latest in business and economics? Tune in to The Business Connect, a dynamic program that delivers in-depth analysis of Nigeria's top business headlines and the global trends shaping the world economy. Each week, we bring you the latest updates on everything from financial markets and trade policies to entrepreneurship and cutting-edge innovations. Hear from industry leaders and experts as they break down the topics that matter most in the world of business. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a business professional, or simply curious about the evolving world of commerce, The Business Connect connects you to the pulse of business at home and abroad. Stay informed, stay ahead, make smarter decisions. Tune in to The Business Connect every Monday, 10:30 to 11 a.m. Because in business, knowledge is power. The Business Connect, only on Super 92.7 FM. Don't miss it. One family, one radio.
Have you been looking for avenues to reach a global audience? Would you like your business to reach your target audience and people from all walks of life? Call our commercial lines on 0816-4193-677 or walk into our office at 31 Bishop Oluwole Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Put your business on blast on Super 92.7 FM, your one family, one radio.
You are still listening to Health and Wellness on Super 92.7 FM. This is a Super Breakfast Show, and Dr. Olumide Okeowo, a clinical psychologist, is in the studio with me. We're talking substance abuse. Before the break, I did ask 2 questions. Because I asked those questions, neurodiversity. Because I asked the questions, I can remember them. The first one was, the 2 cases we've heard are people who have gone to rehab, come back from rehab, and they're still abusing. So what am I missing? Why was there something that they did wrong, the guys who helped them through the process?
Oh, okay. The guys that helped them, or the rehab center that helped them through the process, probably had done the best they could. Now, so when you go to rehab and then you come back from rehab, different rehabs have different goals. So there's some rehab that focus on substitution method. There are some that focus on abstinence.
Substitution method.
Yes, meaning that, someone is using, maybe is already gone that far and is using maybe a
Heroin
very
or
strong illicit substance like
Okay.
heroin, cocaine, and says that, let's see how we can get you to start using maybe a lesser, cigarettes once in a while, and all of that. But the thing is, cannabis now they're called gateway drugs and alcohol. So that, so they open the gate to
All these other
other very strong.
It escalates with time.
So, at my own center where I work, we don't do substitution. We go abstinence. In the mental health space, one of the most difficult condition to treat is substance use disorder, which is because it's not just about popping a pill to treat it, is that it's totally dependent on the person that is addicted.
How so?
Yes. So they are the ones that, even if you are, go through therapy and all of that, they are still the one to be able to, when they go back out of rehab, when they see, maybe the places, the joints where they used to go to, you are the one to be motivated enough to say, I'm not going to go to that joint. I don't think I'm strong enough. I'm not going to hang out with these guys. I'm not going to still relate with my dealer. I'm not going to, my plugs and all of that, because those people are still going to look for you.
But is it fair to put it in the hands of the person who just came out of rehab? Have they formed enough? Because some of them are staying there for 4 to 6 weeks, some of them up to months. So if you're staying up to 6 weeks, I don't know. Is it fair to hang it on you to make that decision, knowing that you might not have attained that level of recognition of what you just went through?
So that's the difficult part in the treatment of substance abuse.
Okay.
That's why it is different, and then it is one of the most difficult to treat, because the responsibility lies solely with the person, which is why you see that they can swing in back as quickly as they are going, coming out of it. They can. So there was an instance, and this is true life. Someone had finished rehab and he had gone home. And then. At my center, we still get them to come, once a week, every week, to still join the groups, so that it helps them to stay strong while they are there. They're still hearing some of those tips and all of that to keep them going. And then, this guy gets home, and then, his girlfriend came to see him, or he went to his girlfriend's place. And the girlfriend is also using substances, and so the girlfriend kissed him, and there was cocaine in her mouth. She just pushed it into him, and the guy went back straight. So 2 weeks after, he was back at the rehab.
Wow.
So it's a lot difficult, because, and that's why for us, we believe that abstinence is, the most critical thing that you can. Don't go near it, because if you go near it, it's a tough walk to come out, because you will be the one to have to do that.
So because of time, I'm going to rush you through two things. Number one, doesn't this then mean that it's important that if you are, first of all, that they have a support system? Because clearly, whoever is going through that addiction and abuse and is trying to get out of it, one of the first things I'm thinking now is you need a support system, someone
Absolutely.
or people to keep an eye on you.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to talk about parents who think that they're being smart and doing the right thing, giving sips of their alcohol to children.
Okay, so I'll come from that, because that's one of the things that I mentioned, that in terms of talking about adolescents or children that are
Yes.
younger, because you mentioned an 8-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a modeled behavior. So the child is, oh, okay, my dad gives me this. Oh, over time, they want to take it by themselves, and that's how they, start to drink. So it's a modeled behavior. Children, they learn by modeling. So when you do that, you are modeling that behavior to that child. It's not only some also send their children to go and buy the beer or cigarettes, or
Yes.
send them, and one of those days that child is going to try to smoke, to see, oh, this cigarette, oh, I see my dad puffing and all of that, let me also try to puff. And then that's how they start, and then before you know it, and
They've gone far.
They've gone far. And then you see a lot of people come into the clinic, and then they are asking, so I hear this question a lot, oh, okay, oh, how come all of my friends that we smoke together, are not breaking down with mental health challenge. So I just say to them that, oh, okay, all your guys that you smoke with, how many of them are seated with you here?
Word.
You are the only one seated here. The fact that they are not here also does not suggest that their organs are not being damaged. But for you, your emotional threshold cannot handle it. So what it also suggests that you should not even go near it.
I've heard someone say that the giving of their child or children alcohol will help them to develop a thick skin. And I'm thinking, you're teaching that child to become resistant. So the more they take it over time, the more they look for higher doses. Am I wrong?
You are correct, because so which is why people when they get to a level where their body is asking for more, then they go to a higher dose. So you have that, or maybe someone that is smoking cigarette starts with 1 stick. When the tolerance level of the body, when they get to that place and the body is used to that level, it's going to ask for more. So they get to 2 sticks, 3 sticks, and then for maybe stronger cannabis and all of that. Cannabis is in different strands these days.
The number of regular people that are using cannabis right now to keep, they'll say is to keep calm because of Nigeria's economy. I've heard that.
So there are different kinds of cannabis, loud, Canadian loud.
There are plenty, all sorts of things. I've heard of one in Ibadan, loud.
So
I heard that one can drive you crazy.
So, and then the funny thing is that the content of all those things, because it's a lot of all those things that they call, they're synthetic.
Yes.
They're synthetic. So they don't even know the constituent of all the things that they are taking. Some of people will see when you do urine toxicology for them, they say, I only take cannabis. But when you do urine toxicology, it's showing more than cannabis. It's showing another class of drug. It's showing, because all those things, as they buy it, you don't know what they've mixed with it. You don't know what they've spiced or added to it.
I know we have practically 30 seconds. So what is the advice for this lady and people in their shoes? That's what I'm going to ask you as we leave.
Oh, okay. So the lady that is, concerned, I think one of the things she should be concerned even more is about her cousin and herself.
The boyfriend and herself.
Yeah, and herself, to be sure that her boyfriend is not also being dragged along yes, because if he gets to her boyfriend, he can literally get to her,
and she might not even notice, because she's used to him.
And just like one of the callers was saying, it can come in any from cookies, Indomie, all those things and all of that. So that is, so she needs to be mindful of that. So it's valid for her to question some of the things she's saying, and she knows that is off. She needs to question it, so she should take it up with her boyfriend.
Is it fair to say that if he's not taking it seriously, you might want to end that relationship? Because
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure if they will come.
No, yes, because part of the things for someone that is even dealing with that is that the people you used to roll with, you need to change them.
True.
Yeah.
Dr. Olumide Okeowo, thank you so much for this conversation. I asked you to come back and you did us the great pleasure of coming back. He is a clinical psychologist and he's gone back to, well, he's a medical practitioner, rounded medical practitioner with over 2 decades of working experience. And the last decade has been focused on mental health practice with clinical experience covering child, adolescent, and adult in neuropsychiatry and substance abuse using evidence-based interventions, including psychotherapy programs, cognitive behavioral therapy, individual, group, couple, and family therapies. But he's also very passionate about motivating interviewing programs, relapse prevention strategies, and grief bereavement programs. Well, he has returned to the clinical psychology space to meet the increasing need for mental health wellness and performance productivity in corporate Nigeria and in the millennial. Thank you so much, Dr. Okeowo.
Thank you for having me.
This has
Always
been
a
wholesome.
pleasure.
I would definitely get you again when the gifted goddess is back. We are bringing you back for another conversation.
No problem.
All right, people, don't go anywhere. Deep Dive comes up on the other side. Until then, this is a song by Khaled and Logic and Alicia Cara, 1-800. This is a suicide prevention song, but also it's very important for those who are going through any sort of substance abuse. Please reach out to us. Dr. Okeowo,